If you've been following my channel or following the sovereign citizen movement generally over these past few years, you saw the rise of the Moors. Now we will witness the fall of the Moors.
We are not anti-government. Our nation, which our flag is right here, has a treaty with your government. I would also like to reassure you that we were being extra careful as to not violate the federal laws of the United States. The federal laws of the United States specify that as long as we are not prohibited from bearing arms in the state that we are coming from, we have the right to peaceful journey through the states as long as we are not making any unnecessary stops. So, to ensure that we were not making any unnecessary stops, we have gas tanks full of fuel so that way we can pull over, fuel our vehicles without having to stop and alert or alarm the public.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Common Sense Academy. I'm your host, Joe Palmetto, Joe the Lawyer. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Also check out my new channel called Tips from a Lawyer. The person that you see on the screen over here is Jamal from Rise of the Moors. Rise of the Moors is a YouTube channel that has existed for a couple of years now. This individual, Jamal, in the standoff that occurred on July 3rd, 2021 in Massachusetts, he claimed that he was peaceful. He claimed that he was not anti-government. You just saw in the little speech here he gave during the standoff that his country has a treaty with the United States and that they have not violated federal law. Everyone, friends and family, let me tell you, that is not true. Before we dig into exactly how that is not true, why it is not true, raise your cup, your glass in the air with me, drink with me. It tastes better when we drink together at the same time. Sip. Cheers. The scene on July 3rd was a group of 11 Moors in 2 vehicles. These individuals were driving through Massachusetts to Maine in order to run a training exercise. As you heard Mr. Jamal state, they stopped on the side of the road in order to fuel up the vehicles because they were running low on gas. They said they did that so as not to violate federal law, but the truth is probably that they wanted to avoid gas stations so they wouldn't be seen dressed in army fatigues, Kevlar vests, helmets, and other military gear, not to mention that each and every one of them were armed with multiple guns. They pulled over on the side of the road early on the morning of July 3rd to fuel up their vehicle when the state police came by and encountered these individuals, okay? There was argument, discussion back and forth, and a standoff ensued. Police, I believe, immediately apprehended and arrested 2 of the individuals. 2 of the individuals stayed in one of the vehicles, and the rest of them fled to the surrounding woods right off of I-95, one of the busiest highways in the country. Over the next 8 hours, they were in an armed standoff and negotiations with state police. The state police brought snow plows in order to form protective cover from the rise of the Moors in case shots were fired. Eventually, they surrendered, and each and every one of these individuals was arrested. Now, Mr. Jamal said that they did not violate any laws or any federal laws. This is an article from CNN. It's titled, "Authorities Charge 11 People Involved in a Standoff with Massachusetts Police. All suspects are facing charges of 8 counts of unlawful possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of ammunition, use of body armor and commission of a crime, possession of a high-capacity magazine, improper storage of firearms in a vehicle, and conspiracy to commit a crime." It is worth knowing that in the state of Massachusetts, to drive with a firearm in your vehicle, you need a permit. These individuals did not have permits. It's my understanding they also did not have driver's license, which are needed to drive on any road in the continental United States of America. Now, Mr. Jamal said, and he showed a flag, the Moorish national flag, which is a play on the Moroccan flag. He said that his people have a treaty with the United States. Well, that's not quite true, but not completely false. Back in the late 1800s, the United States government did sign a treaty with the country of Morocco, a treaty of peace and friendship. These individuals, Rise of the Moorish sovereign citizens, they believe that that treaty grants them diplomatic immunity or special status under United States law. It does not do that in any way, shape, or form. Not to mention that these individuals are likely not of Moroccan descent, and they're certainly not Moroccan citizens, or at least I haven't seen any evidence to prove that that's true. It appears to me that most of them are probably born in the United States citizens. Jamal was a member of the United States Army, so I feel safe to say that he's a United States citizen, probably has never been to Morocco in his life. The treaty that was signed, the plain reading of the Treaty of Friendship in the late 18th century, simply says that the United States and Morocco will try to pursue peaceful and friendly relations with each other, because there was incidences of piracy and United States boats and Moroccan ships and pirates operating off the north coast of Africa in the Mediterranean Sea, which were firing on, capturing United States ships. After a bit of gunboat diplomacy, where the United States had shelled certain ports in North Africa, this treaty was signed. There was some violence afterwards, and then it calmed down. The treaty doesn't grant special rights to any Moroccan citizens, and certainly not the individuals involved here. It doesn't give them any diplomatic immunity. Their understanding of the treaty and history is just plain wrong. It also doesn't allow them to avoid federal or state or local law in any way, shape, or form. They don't have any special status under United States or international law. It doesn't exist. And finally, this man, Rise of the Moors, Jamal, and as you can see, with all of these individuals being arrested after the standoff, and I covered it live, but I wanted to do this wrap up. All of these individuals have been arrested. Thus, I call this episode The Fall of the Moors. Now, he states that he is peaceful and that their intentions are peaceful. But let's watch some words from some other videos that I found on Rise of the Moors. Actually, just one video.
Allegiance to the United States in order to have their passport.
This is the situation that Moors don't want to address. We are not going to be able to do anything until we have a military.
And a government.
Whether that be travel internationally, why? Who's going to fucking enforce it? Whether it be or getting our IDs recognized on the scale that we want it to be, why? Because who's going to enforce that? What Moors do is we keep, and I speak to a lot of Moors, so I'm not blaming y'all, I'm just saying this is what Moors do. They'll say, well, why can't we just go to the UN? We don't even have our own goddamn state. Half of y'all motherfuckers didn't even know each other.
That is Rise of the Moors right there, talking about forming a military in order to enforce their rules and creating a government in order to go into the United Nations. That doesn't sound to me like they have peaceful intent. What does it sound like to you?
Now, let me read this right here. This is from the Quran that Noble Jarli told you to read. It's chapter 47. It says, those who believe say, why is it not a surah sent down for us? But when a surah of basic or categorical meaning is revealed and fighting is mentioned therein, thou wilt see those in whose hearts is a disease looking at thee with the look of one who is swooned at the approach of death, but more fitting for them. So all of us see that there's a fucking problem with these Europeans. Anytime I bring up fighting, Moors change the subject. I'm not saying y'all. I'm saying in general. That is the only way we're going to get us our salvation. There's no other goddamn way. Don't believe me. Look at what the prophet said. The Europeans not going to stop till they look death in the face. So now you tell me what the fuck does that mean?
And that is Rise of the Moors there, talking about fighting being the only way to their salvation. Now, I don't know, and I'm not saying that they have committed violence, but that certainly sounds like a call to violence to me. What does it sound like to you? I covered the rise of the Moors a year ago, and so have other watchdogs in the sovereign citizen community in their specific language about creating an army, about fighting, and forming a government really disturbed me more than most sovereign citizens. Because I think that type of language can cross a line, can actually lead and inspire people to violence. And what we saw on Saturday, June 3rd, where 11 of these men dressed in army fatigues, all carrying weapons, took 2 cars to drive to Maine in order to train, presumably with live firearms. Luckily, the police intercepted them. They all have been arrested and charged. Let's hope this puts the fire out. But one thing I can tell you, the rise of the Moors may have fallen. We may have seen the fall of the Moors, but the sovereign citizen movement is huge and it is growing. And law enforcement, the FBI, people need to be aware of these people. It is a dangerous ideology. Sometimes it's funny and we laugh, okay, and we have fun with it. But we also know that it can be dangerous. Check out my book here, Sovereign Citizens. It's going to see all the crimes and actual murders that sovereign citizens have committed in the past. And it looks to me from watching this channel that Jamal and Rise of the Moors were really on a path towards some extreme radicalization. Luckily, there has been an intervention, and we have seen a fall of the Moors. So I'll have more to come with this. Actually, I'm going to team up with Natalie Lawyerchick. We're going to talk about this in a couple of days. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm Joe Palmetto, Joe the Lawyer. This is the Common Sense Academy. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Also, check out my new channel, Tips from a Lawyer. Thank you very much for tuning in. More to come, everyone. Goodbye.